The richest man in your neighborhood is not driving a G-Wagon. He's driving something that costs more and looks like nothing. Here's what I learned working inside this industry. The badge on the grille is the cheapest part of the car. The people who own real money figured that out a long time ago. Range Rovers, Bentaygas, Cullinans, those are bought by people performing wealth. The actual quiet money, old money, tech money, founders whose names you'll never know, drives a very specific kind of SUV. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what real money parks in the garage. And the most under-the-radar example, the one even other rich people don't recognize, will not be on any list you've ever read. Let me give you the version they didn't write. There's a phrase the wealth management industry uses behind closed doors. Stealth wealth. Engineering over ego. Real money doesn't need a mirror. And once you understand the three forces pulling the ultra-wealthy away from flashy badges, you can't look at a parking lot the same way again. The first is anonymity as security. Family office advisors say it flat out: a chrome grille is a target. Kidnap and ransom underwriters factor your daily driver into the premium. A $3,000 a year K&R policy spikes fast on a client photographed in a Cullinan. Visibility isn't a flex when your name surfaces in a forensic accounting report. Beyond security sits the silent financial tax the wealthy refuse to pay. According to IC Car's 5-year depreciation data, a Range Rover Sport loses roughly 65% of its value in 5 years. A Toyota Land Cruiser loses around 38%. On a $130,000 vehicle, that's a $35,000 difference evaporating in your driveway. And then there's the most unforgiving variable: time. A check engine light on a Cullinan isn't an inconvenience for someone billing 4-figure hourly rates. It's a missed board meeting, a delayed closing. Replacing a single front air strut on a Range Rover at the dealer runs between $3,500 and $6,000 per corner. Old money doesn't buy that math, it buys around it. Before the comments explode, hear me out. I'm not saying every Range Rover owner is broke. I'm saying the people whose net worth has actual commas in it stopped playing that game years ago. They moved to vehicles built for 30-year ownership cycles, not 3-year leases. And the most striking example starts with the SUV that quietly vanished from the American market and came back as a status symbol no one in the showroom understood. The Toyota Land Cruiser was pulled from the US market after the 2021 model year and stayed gone for 2 model years before the 2024 reboot. 2 years of total absence. That gap is exactly what made it a stealth wealth icon. Scarcity built mystique, and the buyers who knew. This is the SUV the United Nations buys. The Red Cross buys it. Oil and mining executives in over 60 countries spec it for war zones, deserts, and roads that don't exist on Google Maps. When aid agencies pick a vehicle for places without functioning infrastructure, you don't need a brochure to know it's overbuilt. But here's the crazy part. Bentley's Bentayga, the SUV billionaires get photographed in, rides on Volkswagen Group's MLB Evo platform. So does the Audi Q7. So does the Porsche Cayenne. So does the Lamborghini Urus. 4 different SUVs across 4 price ceilings. 1 shared chassis. Let that sink in. The Land Cruiser, by contrast, is body-on-frame, with available triple-locking center, front, and rear differentials, and a kinetic dynamic suspension system that mechanically disconnects the sway bars for off-road articulation. Replacing the entire KDSS unit at a Toyota dealer runs roughly $2,500 to $4,000. Replacing 1 air strut on the Range Rover next to it? More. Pick the right Toyota and you're driving for 30 years. Pick the wrong Bentley and you're financing the dealership's service department. That same engineering DNA gets you into the vehicle most Land Cruiser buyers eventually graduate into. The Lexus LX is, mechanically, a Land Cruiser in a tuxedo. Same body-on-frame architecture, same twin-turbo V6 lineage in the current generation, plus a Mark Levinson 25-speaker reference audio system reviewers consistently rank among the best factory systems in the segment. Now look at the math. A Bentley Bentayga in the US starts above $200,000 before options. A loaded Lexus LX 600 Ultra Luxury lands closer to $130,000. A 6-figure delta. For a vehicle on a more proven platform, with a stronger global service network, and warranty terms a Bentley owner would frame on the wall. Here's a moment I watched in a finance office. Wealthy client, self-made. Walked in to look at a Bentayga, spent 90 minutes with the brand specialist, walked out without signing. 2 days later, he was back, buying a fully loaded LX 570 used, cash, no financing. He told the F&I manager, word for word, "I don't need to be looked at, I need to be left alone." That sentence is stealth wealth in 11 words, and the insider piece nobody on the showroom floor will tell you. Lexus dealers do not discount these. The buyers don't negotiate. Old money walks in, signs, leaves. If the Land Cruiser and the LX represent quiet American and Japanese taste, the Volvo XC90 represents the religion quiet Scandinavian wealth has been practicing for 3 generations. Specifically, the Excellence 4-seat configuration. Volvo built this trim in extremely low US volumes and discontinued it after the 2019 model year, so clean examples now trade as collector pieces among quiet European money. Crystal Orifors gear lever, real Swedish glasswork from the same firm the royal family uses. A built-in cooled compartment between the rear captain's chairs, recognized by almost nobody under 50. But the credential no luxury rival can match has nothing to do with leather or crystal. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety reported 0 driver deaths for the XC90 across the model years tracked in its landmark study. Period. Insurance actuaries notice. Wealthy parents notice harder. And the brochure won't tell you this. The Polestar-tuned T8 plug-in hybrid puts down roughly 455 horsepower and runs 0 to 60 in the high 4-second range. Quicker than a base Cayenne. Quicker than a BMW X5 xDrive 40i. Quicker than a Mercedes GLE 450. And nobody at the stoplight knows. Once you start seeing the Land Cruiser, the LX, the Volvo, as one pattern instead of 3 vehicles, you start seeing the tells of stealth wealth everywhere. Factory paint only, no wraps. The dealer license plate frame removed within 24 hours. OEM wheels, never aftermarket. D-badge trim, no autobiography letters across the tailgate. I watched these patterns hold for years. Wealthy buyers spent almost all their time on the spec sheet, almost 0 on the badge. Performance buyers did the opposite. And the wallet on the desk was bigger from the guy in the Costco hoodie. Every time. Which brings us to the SUV most of you have never heard of, the one I've been holding back. For 2024, Lexus released the LX 600 Inspiration Series, limited to 500 units in the United States. A unique 2-tone black onyx over moon desert paint scheme, bespoke 22-inch forged wheels, trim and badging that does not appear on any other LX. Original MSRP, approximately $115,000. Stop and think about that. 500 units, 0 advertising spend, no Super Bowl commercial, no celebrity ambassador, no social media campaign. Every single one was spoken for inside of a few weeks, most by repeat Lexus owners who had already bought 4 or 5 LXs across 2 decades. You cannot buy your way into that customer list. You age into it. This is what stealth wealth actually is. Not cheap, not minimalist for the sake of being minimalist. It is premium engineering with the volume turned off. You're paying for what the car does, not what the car says about you. That is the difference between performing wealth and being wealthy. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Now, there is one more thing I have to tell you before you leave. Here's the truth nobody tells you when you walk into a dealership. Every vehicle in this video, every single one, has trim packages, financing traps, and dealer-installed add-ons that can quietly cost you $10,000 to $15,000 you should never have paid. Paint protection markups, nitrogen fills, VIN etching, theft protection packages. I've watched it happen. I helped write some of those add-on sheets. So I put together the Mr. Car Insider Field Manual, the same checklist I used inside the industry to tell a real deal from a dealer scam. It covers the trim levels worth paying for, the diagnostic fees nobody is required to charge you, and the 4 lines on every contract that should make you walk out. It's free. Link is in the description, pinned in the comments. Grab it before your next dealership visit. Period. But here is why you cannot close this video yet. Everything I just told you about the Land Cruiser, the LX, the Volvo, they are bulletproof. They were engineered to outlive the dealership that sold them. Now imagine the exact opposite scenario. A six-figure luxury SUV, built by one of the most respected performance brands on the planet. And the owners, thousands of them, are right now sitting in dealership service bays watching repair quotes climb past $25,000 on a vehicle that's barely 4 years old. The 2017 to 2020 Porsche Cayenne. There is a defect they are not putting in writing. There is a service bulletin most owners have never seen. And if you bought one, or you're about to, you need to see this video before the warranty window closes on you. Click the video on screen right now, titled, Why 2017 to 2020 Porsche Cayenne Owners Are Furious and What They Hide. Don't wait. Watch it next.